So this is interesting. I just had, I would say, legitimately, my first crossover moment between Chris Oldhouse and my other show, Think It Over. If you've seen it, I'm much more serious, and I talk about stuff. Talk about life and politics and just random musings from this addled brain of mine. But what was interesting is, let's see, is somebody coming? No. Okay. So anyway, I had this crossover moment just now. A gentleman came in who is doing some work on the landscaping here, and he said, "Hola," and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" And he was talking to me. The homeowner was introducing me because I'm doing the work back here, and he's doing work on the property. And he kind of looked at me sideways, as if to say, like, "Gringo, like what are you, what are you doing doing this kind of work?" Because, as you might know, in 2023, everybody who does this kind of work is some type of Hispanic person. And it's funny because 100 years ago, my ancestors, my grandfather and great-grandfather from Italy, they did this kind of work. And what's interesting is that at the time, actually up until about the 1980s, Italian Americans, such as myself, were not considered white. They were considered sort of sub-white. We weren't black, but we weren't white. We were swarthy little people in between. And it's kind of funny that here in 2023, I am considered white, and the swarthy little people in between, so to speak, are the Hispanic people who are doing all the physical work. Because, as I often say, you never see a black face, you never see a white face outside of Home Depot. Only Hispanic people who will work their asses off to make this money, and they either keep here or they send back home to help their families. And it's really something, because we're at this moment right now where I think it's something like, I saw Robert F. Kennedy at the border the other day, and something like 7 million people have come over the border in the past 3 years, and they're coming from all over the world now because the word is out that there's sort of an open border policy. At least 10,000 a day, and if this Title 42 thing goes away, then it'll be even more people, and it's really out of control. And it's what's interesting about it is that in some ways, of course, we have to get a handle on the situation. You can't just have people endlessly flowing over the border. But in other ways, I'm really happy that within 50 years we're going to be turning over this country to mostly Spanish-speaking people. I really am. Because just like the Poles and the Jews and the Italians, and a little bit before that the Irish, the Germans, all those people that came here around 1900 to 1910, that first big immigration wave, all the Englishy white people, quote unquote white people, were terrified. Oh my God, these filthy little people with all their children and their weird religions have come into the country. But like I said, now I'm a white guy, apparently. Jewish people are white people, and Irish, who were subhumans to the English, they're white people too. Interesting. But I'm happy to give the country over, say, 100 years from now, 50 to 100 years from now, to the Hispanic people, because they are going to save this country. One, they like to work. Two, they have family structure. Three, they have religious structure. They're grateful for the miracle that is the United States of America, despite all our failings. People aren't flowing over the border to get into Saudi Arabia or Venezuela or Botswana. They're coming here, and I think those people especially all these new immigrants, are going to appreciate what this country can give to them, and they will work, and they will appreciate it, and then a couple of generations from now, they'll be considered the white people who are the problem, and they'll get soft and self-involved and narcissistic as we have, and start bickering amongst each other. But in the meantime, they will thrive, and they will throw off all this woke nonsense, which is just an aspect of a narcissistic culture consuming itself, and they'll become the Americans and the Indians and the Asian people of all different kinds, and then they'll become the Americans, and they'll look a little different than we. But believe me, I looked a lot different to people 100 years ago. Somebody like me, short, big nose, you know, not a real American, certainly not white. So yeah, you know, I hope we can get a handle on the immigration problem, because it is out of control. I mean, we can't just have it go forever. But at the same time, 50 to 100 years from now, I feel good that this group will be the Americans. I'm Chris Rubio, asking you to please think it over. And now, back to Chris Old House.